Hello, wonderful children. How are you today? I'm happy to see you online. I'm happy you're able to join us today again. Thank you so very much for being here. I appreciate your being here. Yes? Thank you. Today we are going to learn something different, something new, something exciting. So today we are taking you to the basic science class. Yes? The basic science class. We are going to learn something new in basic science. And what will be the topic for today? Today we are going to study forms of energy. Forms of energy. Again, forms of energy. Are we together? Beautiful. Now, we are going to understand our learning objective for today's lesson. In today's lesson, we must understand our objective. At the end of the lesson today, every one of you should be able to, one, define energy. Two, mention and define the major forms of energy. Three, mention the different types of energy. Are we together? Beautiful. Learning objective for today's lesson. We are going to learn to define energy. We will define energy. Yes? We will mention and define the major forms of energy. All energy, all forms of energy are categorized into two major forms, and we are going to identify those forms. Okay? Beautiful. Then we are going on to mention the different types of energy. The different types of energy. Are we together? We will mention the different types of energy. So, what do we have on our slide? What is energy? What is energy? Again, what is energy? Listen here. Energy is the ability to do work. Energy is your ability to do work. In other words, energy is the capacity to engage in vigorous, hard activity. Okay? So, work itself is the transfer of energy. Work itself is the transfer of energy. So, what is energy? Energy is your own ability, my own ability, our ability to do work. The ability we put into producing anything, the enablement, the capability to do that which must be done is energy. Is energy. Are we together? Are you getting me? Beautiful. So work itself is the transfer of energy. Energy within us. Energy within us helps us to do work. Are we together? Beautiful. Now, we move on. Energy is the what? The capacity to engage in vigorous activity. To engage in vigorous activity. Are we together? Okay, beautiful. Now we move on. Let's go on. Let's see the slide. Okay. Our first question is, what is energy? What is energy? And then our slide says, energy is the ability to do work. Energy is your ability to do work, my ability to do work, our ability to do work. Is that clear? Do we understand? Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. The ability you put into your work, your homework, your classwork, your domestic work, even your exercise. You put in energy to achieve purpose. Is that clear? Beautiful. Let's move on to the next slide. What is energy? Capacity for doing any kind of work is energy. Your capacity, what you are capable of doing and you are doing right, is energy put into work. Energy put into that thing which you love doing, that thing which you do, that activity which you participate vigorously in. You are applying energy. You use energy for almost everything. Energy is the source of strength. Yes. Let's move on, shall we? Shall we move on? Very good. So we say, yes, the capacity to do work. Yes. Are we here? Beautiful. And then we move on to say that energy is applied in doing vigorous activity. A musician like this one on the slide, he is a musician. He sings, he entertains people, he dances, he does all those things on stage. It is energy that he uses to do those things. Energy is doing vigorous activity. Energy is applied when we do vigorous activities. Therefore, we say energy is our ability to do work and to do it perfectly. He is a musician. He will have to put in energy, strength of energy, to ensure that the audience is well entertained. So while he dances up and down, while he jumps up and down, while he does all those things to entertain the audience, he is applying energy. Are we together? Are we together? Beautiful. We move on. Shall we move on? Now we move on to the forms of energy. What are the forms of energy? Basically, there are two major forms of energy. Two major forms of energy. That is to say, all other energy, all other types of energy fall into the ranking of potential energy and kinetic energy. Kinetic energy and potential energy. These are the two major forms of energy, kinetic energy and potential energy. Are we together? Are we together? So let's look at what we have under potential energy. Potential energy is stored mechanical. Potential energy is nuclear. Potential energy is chemical. And potential energy is gravitational. Okay, kinetic energy is electrical, light radiant, heat, that is thermal energy, and movement energy. Let's move further. Are we there? Very good. Now, what are the types of energy? We have mechanical energy, thermal energy, nuclear energy, chemical energy, electromagnetic energy, sonic energy, gravitational energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, ionization energy. Are we together? But our concentration in this lesson will be the kinetic energy and the potential energy. Remember, all other forms of energy here mentioned fall into these two categories. Do you understand? Are we together? Very well. Let's go on. The question on the slide says, what is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of a moving object. Kinetic energy has to do with movement. The movement of an object, moving object, moving in process of movement. Are we together? Are we together? Yes? Very good. So kinetic energy is the energy of a moving object. Of a moving object. Look at this ball. It's rolling down. It's rolling down. So that movement of rolling from up here, from a stable surface, rolling down, it is kinetic energy, because this ball is applying the movement energy. Are we together? Beautiful, beautiful. Yes? So we go on again, and we are able to say, what is the definition of kinetic energy? What is the definition of kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. Motion. Motion, in other words, means movement. 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 Are we together? Kinetic energy has to do with movement. Movement. Now, kinetic energy depends on an object's speed and mass. For movement to take place, it depends on object speed and mass. Basically, what you must understand is that kinetic energy is the energy of motion. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. Motion, in other words, means movement. Are we together? Are we together? So let us look at where we can as well find energy of movement. Energy of movement, when you move from one spot to another, like someone that is jogging, running, someone that is dancing, according to this slide. Yes, it is movement. The energy applied in movement. The energy of motion is kinetic energy. Are we together? Are we together? So when you wear your sportswear and you begin to jog around, or you do your calisthenics, or you, that movement alone, when you do that, you are employing or applying the energy of movement, otherwise known as kinetic energy. Kinetic energy. Let's look at this. Kinetic energy. Now, kinetic energy here is applied when the cyclist goes up the hill and when he rolls down the hill. Remember, when he is stagnant on the top of the hill, he is not applying kinetic energy anymore. What he is applying right there is potential energy. But we're talking about kinetic energy. The movement up by the cyclist and the movement down by the cyclist is kinetic energy. He is applying kinetic energy to ride up the hill and roll down or ride down the hill. Are we together? Very good. Now, examples of kinetic energy. Remember, kinetic energy has to do with motion. With motion. Once it is moving, it is kinetic energy. Once movement is involved, it is kinetic energy. Are we together? Beautiful. So what is our example? Shooting a rubber band, just like this. When the rubber band is pulled backwards, there's a movement, and that movement is called kinetic. When the dam overflows, the movement of the water down into the dam is kinetic. When a yo-yo is a motion, it is kinetic. And the archer wants to fly his arrow. Yes, once he releases the arrow, it is kinetic. Are we together? Are we together? Beautiful. Now let's look at the other part of energy. What is potential energy? Remember we said energy can be grouped into two. Yes, we said the first one is kinetic energy. The second one is potential energy. Potential energy is the energy that is stored and ready to be used. In other words, potential energy remains unused until it is used. It is that energy that positions an object ready for movement. Are we together? Beautiful. Now you can see this ball now. It's seated on a platform. It has the potential to roll down and hit the floor. As long as it is seated on this platform, it is potential. Once it rolls down, it engages the kinetic energy. Are we together? Beautiful. We are talking about potential energy. Are we there? Let's take a look at the next slide. What is potential energy? Potential energy, that is the energy that is stored and waiting to be used later. And waiting to be used later. Now, look at the crane. The higher the ball, the greater the potential energy. When the crane lifts up the ball to whatever height, as long as it has not dropped the ball, it's suspended up there, it is potential energy. Once the crane swings the ball out of its reach, then it has employed the kinetic energy. Are we clear on that? Beautiful. The archer here, the more the ball is pulled back, the greater the potential energy. Why? Because the more he pulls the arrow, the better the hit, the better he will hit the focus or the bull's eye. Do you get it? So, still in motion, he pulls it hard, pulls hard on it, pulls it backwards. He did not, or he has not released the arrow to fly. In that process, it is still potential. It is still potential energy at work. It's potential energy because it is waiting to hit the target. It is waiting to hit the bull's eye. Okay? Beautiful. So we move on. Are we together? Examples of potential energy. Yes. Stretching a rubber band like he does. Yes. That rubber band has a potential of hitting its target. Okay? Water at the top of a waterfall. The water at the top of the waterfall is potential until it drops. It remains there until it drops. Once it drops, it becomes a kinetic energy at work. But while it is up there, it is still stored energy, waiting to do what it has to do. Are we clear? Now think of the yo-yo in your hand. It is stored energy because of its position. You are holding it, you have not released it. Because you are holding it, The energy is stored. And because the energy is stored, we say it is potential energy. Why? Because the yo-yo, you haven't let go of the yo-yo. It's still in your hand, in your grip. All right? You have not let go. Once you let go, movement takes place. Therefore, employing kinetic energy. Are we together? Drawing a bow. This picture, yes, is storing up energy because of position. He has not let go. Just like the rubber band. He has not let go. Once he lets go of the arrow, it becomes another kind of energy. Therefore, let us understand this in simple form. Let's understand it in simple form. We now say kinetic energy versus potential energy. Kinetic energy versus potential energy. And what are we saying? We're saying that kinetic energy is energy of motion, energy of movement. Yes, energy of motion, energy of movement. While the potential energy is the stored energy, the stored up energy, ready to be used. Always stored up, ready to be used. Are we together? Are we together? Do you understand? Beautiful. So let's give a wrap up of what we have said or we have taught so far. Are we together? Beautiful. Now we have said that energy is the ability to do work. Work is the transfer of energy. Work is the transfer of energy. It is the capacity to engage in vigorous activity. And we have said energy is the ability to do work. What is energy? Energy is the capacity for doing work. Are we clear? Do we understand? Very well. Energy is also the capacity to do vigorous activities. Vigorous activities. Are we clear? Beautiful. And then we said there are different types of energy. We have mechanical energy, which is created by machines. Are we clear? Your bicycle, scissors, your fan, that is mechanical energy. These use mechanical energy. Yes? Okay. Thermal energy has to do with heat energy. Heat. Yes? So we have your oven. Are we clear? We have your heater, your stove. Are we together? Yes. We have nuclear energy. Yes? Okay. We have chemical energy. We have electromagnetic energy, sonic energy that is uh, related to sound. Yes, yes, we call it sound energy. It can be called sound energy. Yes, when you sing, it is sound. When you talk, it is sound. When you make music, generator sound, helicopter, anything that makes sound is applying sonic energy, gravitational energy, and kinetic energy, potential energy, and ionization energy. Remember, we have said all types of energy can be grouped into two: kinetic energy and potential energy. Kinetic energy and potential energy. We have said that kinetic energy is the energy of a moving object, has to do with motion. Are we clear? Beautiful. Are we clear? Very well. Now, we now said potential energy is stored up energy, ready to be used. Stored up energy that is ready to be used. Are we together? Are we together? We have said that the examples of potential energy include stretching a rubber band, which gives us stored energy. Water at the tip of a waterfall gives us stored energy. The yo-yo in your hand generates stored energy. And drawing a bow means what? Stored energy. It translates into stored energy. Are we together? Are we together? Beautiful. We also said that the examples of kinetic energy, shooting a rubber band. The rubber band gives catapults whatever it is you want to shoot at. Yes, it catapults the object to make a hit. The water falling over the fall. When it falls over the fall, over the waterfall, there is motion. Yes, so motion. Yes, a yo-yo in motion. Once you bounce your yo-yo up, down, it's engaged in kinetic energy. Once the arrow is released from the bow, it engages kinetic energy. Are we together? Do you understand? Very well. Now we say, thank you. Thank you for joining today's class. Thank you for being a wonderful you. Thank you for staying safe. Thank you for staying healthy. And thank you for staying focused. For staying focused. Remember, you must stay safe. Wash your hands regularly. Wash your hands regularly. All right? Wash it thoroughly and regularly. Sanitize your hand. Ensure you wear nose masks when you must go out. Okay? Fine. Beautiful. Now, also ensure you maintain social distance, especially from strangers. Are we together? Yes. It is your social responsibility to stay safe. It's your social responsibility to keep your distance. It's your social responsibility to nose mask yourself in public places. It is your social responsibility to wash your hands regularly and to sanitize your hands. Why? Because we must all work together to kick out COVID-19. God bless you. See you next time in another lesson. Yes, be good because you are the best, the very best ever. Bye. See you.